Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. I know this is not your favorite topic, bowel preparation, but I will talk a little bit about it today. So, what is colonoscopy? I'm sure quite a few might have had the procedure before. Colonoscopy is having a camera inserted into the back passage, starting from the anus going around. It's a very tiny camera that's quite flexible, and it's about the size of a pen, just in case anyone haven't had it before. And it's quite flexible. So it goes around the bowel as you lay on the left side of on your left side while the camera goes around. It takes photos of the lining of the bowel. So you get to watch on a big screen as if it's your own channel anyway. So you can watch if you're squeamish, you don't have to, you're not forced to watch, but you can watch if you'd like to. Okay, so that's a flexible camera, and this is it's very tiny, as we said, and it starts and it goes all the way around. So we can have a good view of the bowel. So having a good bowel preparation is very important, because if bowel prep is not done properly, or if you didn't follow the bowel preparation, you can misdiagnose. At the top, you can see there's a tiny polyp, and that's a very good bowel preparation, which a camera takes you around. At the bottom, you can see that polyps can hide anywhere underneath because of the poo or feces, any residue at the bottom of the bowel. Okay, so these are some of the bowel preparation that we give at St. Mark's, because we've got Plainview, we've got Citra Mag, Movie Prep. I'm sure some of you might have had some of these bowel preparations before. It's not the best taste in bowel prep, but we do need strong laxatives for it to work. That's very important. Okay. So this is our food chart. We normally ask like 2 days before, but depending on individual, because some people may be having constipation, so we might have to alter and give you an extended bowel preparation. So we ask you to avoid some food and some food. These are the food that you're allowed to have. We are very high and tight on having food that are white food, nothing that are high in fibers. So we normally say you can have pasta, you can have white bread, rice, and the list goes on. So sometimes it can be a bit worrying, because people tend to ask, sometimes patient is like, what can I have? And it's quite difficult to think about what would I like to have today. And they're thinking, oh, can I have pasta? Can I have tomato sauce? It's like worrying about what you can have before the procedure. But as I said, it's very important that you do follow the laxative and the instruction and stop eating at the time that we ask you to stop, because if not, you're going to be in big trouble, meaning that you might have to come back and repeat the procedure again. And it's very important. And it's wasting your time and the NHS time as well. Okay, you're allowed to have water. You're allowed to have all these hydration drink. You can have candy, you can have broth, you're allowed to have even supplements, but no milk is allowed. Normally we say you can still drink tea and coffee, but only a splash of milk. But sometimes we do say, what is a splash of milk? You might say to someone, just have a bit, and then they say, oh, I might have half, and that's their bit, and that's no good. So we say, you know what, altogether, avoid milk altogether, because it coats the lining of the bowel, which is very important. But you can have natural yogurt, as I said, because you're allowed to have yogurt, because that's more processed. But having milk really can hide. If we do find a polyp that's very flat, and you do drink milk, that can coat the lining, and then we can misdiagnose because we're unable to see it inside the bowel. So you do still have choices while preparing for your test, that you're still allowed lots of items to have. You've got lots of choices. Yeah, anyone can give me any tips on what you think you need to prepare yourself for before having the colonoscopy? Anyone? Very important, very important. Hydration is very, very important. Very, very important. Water, you still can have tea, you can have coffee, you can have Lucozade, because sometimes some people might feel quite lethargic, you might feel a little bit tired then. So we do say have some energy drink, as I said, but no color drink, as in like you can have the Lucozade, as I said, but not the blue in color or blackberry, none of those. As I said, orange, you can still have apple juice. You're still allowed to have orange juice. I mean, that's at St. Mark's. We still allow patients to have those. So you're still allowed, but no bits is inside. Yeah, so sips very slowly, drinking the bowel preparation. You can always use a straw because they tend to bypass the palate. Because when I had mine, that's what I done. Because when you're drinking, you tend to drink more, but at a slower pace. And as well, it tolerates it more. It helps you tolerate it more. And try not to down it, because if you try to drink the bowel preparation too quickly, that's a recipe for disaster, because you can bring it back up. I know I spoke to my friend back there and he said he drank it so quickly. Right, so that's very important. And as you drink the bowel preparation, because it's quite sweet as well, you can always alternate in between while having the bowel preparation. You can have a sip of water, which does help. I mean, you're still drinking more fluids, but it does help. The main thing is drink, 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 because unless you'll feel lightheaded, you can get headaches. So these are the stuff you need to look out for, but hydration is our top. You're allowed to add ice, which is like having,
I drink my bowel prep
quickly.
I find it much better.
Yeah.
Half a tumbler in a go.
Yes.
It just speeds the process up.
Yeah.
And then I might suck a fox.
A candy, because you're allowed to have hard candies, yes.
Have a sort of fox's mint or something, something
Yeah.
with that colouring in. But I do find I'll drink it quick, get my sweet ready.
Okay.
I think that's much better than trying to drink it
A
slowly.
lot. Some of our patient that comes in, they tend to say, oh, they ring us and they say, oh, I was drinking the bowel prep, and we're like, were you drinking it quite quickly? And they said, oh, yes, we were. So they tend to be nauseated. I guess it depends on individual, because sometimes they said, I just want to get it over and done.
You don't almost taste it.
You don't, yes. But using the straw is quite helpful as well, because as I said, it does bypass the palate as well. And add ice, stay hydrated. So I'll let you go. You'll have break early. So that was a quick one. And any question, as I said, I've got bowel prep in my bag. If you do need to know, I did bring some. So if you want to try, you're welcome to. Because as I said, the consistency is quite thick. But that's why I said some people, it depends. Because when I had mine, I had to use a straw because I hate the taste of the consistency of the bowel preparation. So using a straw, adding ice cubes as well, it does help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could we ask one of our
Hi,
experts?
John, we did some questions.
So yes,
Okay,
yes,
just through, we've got some questions up the hill as
of
well.
course.
Yeah, shoot, let's go. What questions?
Here we go.
You can use iron brew apparently.
Hello, I just had a colonoscopy 6 weeks ago at the 5th different hospital, don't ask. And yet again, the dietary recommendation list was different. This time I was not allowed cheese, I've been allowed cheese in the past. Why is there not one single standardised list of what is allowed and what is not allowed in terms of diet before prep?
A good
No,
question.
that is a good question. At St. Mark's, we do allow you to have white cheese. So I'm not sure which trust you're with, but we do allow patients to have cheese, because we do say if you're having pasta, if you want to grate a bit of cheese on it, because it limits you to the amount of items that you're allowed to have. So I'm not sure if that helps.
We're about to get an expert opinion from gastroenterologist.
Thank you.
Having had bowel prep myself, so I've been there.
There you go.
Sometimes what is very helpful is to understand the reason why we are asking for this very specific diet. So when we are using a colonoscope, inside the colonoscope there is a suction channel. Unfortunately, the suction channel, the widest diameter is about 2.8, 3.2 millimeters, which is really, really tiny. And when we are having diets that have high content of fiber, as Terry said, we have to have between 30 and 35 grams of fiber in order to keep our guts healthy. This fiber is not digestible, and the little bits float around in all our fluid that we have. And then as colonoscopies, when we try to suck the remaining fluid of the bowel, the fiber blocks this channel, and then we cannot continue. So that's the main reason. So if you try to think of the reason, basically the diet you need to adhere is anything that is white, so bread, rice, pasta, you can have fish, you can have meat, you can have cheese and eggs, and all this white color that does not come from the vegetable kingdom. For instance, white mushrooms are not allowed. And then avoid anything that has pips, seeds, and skin as a fruit or vegetable, because this is what we are going to encounter. And most of the diets actually detail basically the essence of what I said.
And can the people in Glasgow drink iron brew?
Of course.
One more question?
Of course, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, please.
With the prep, it's it's obviously a horrible experience, and I had operation cancelled the day the morning of because I couldn't tolerate prep formula that I was given. I've seen in the US they have something called SUTEP, which is a tablet form prep. Is there any indication that this might be brought into the UK?
I'm not aware of that one in the UK because my sister lives in the US and they do that kind of prep, but I'm not aware of that being introduced in the UK or at St. Mark's.
It might not be licensed for sale.
Yeah, it might not be.
Sorry, I missed the name.
What was the name of?
SUTEP, SUTAP.
We'll look it up.
Okay,
Yeah, go on.
can I ask a question?
Not
So,
sure. Of course you
at
can.
my last colonoscopy, which was on BCSP in Gloucester, I was told no cheese, no dairy, so can you follow that? It's disappointing. They also said, right, your second dose has to be on the morning of the colonoscopy. Colonoscopy was at 8 in the morning, and it's an hour's drive. Basically meant I had to get up at 2:30, I think, and take the bowel prep. I can understand the reason for having that sort of last clear out in the morning,
Yes.
but would it be possible for colleagues to think about scheduling colonoscopies no earlier than 10 in the morning? Because it's quite hard to get your bowel system moving when the body thinks it should be asleep.
At St. Mark's, we do have different timing for colonoscopy. We have in the morning and in the afternoons as well. You come to St. Mark's.
And we have the other
That's really interesting. I've got my colonoscopy week today.
Oh,
And mine's at 8:15 in the morning.
yes.
And my advice was completely different. So I've only ever had Mulvi prep before.
Mulvi prep, yes.
This time. And apparently that's better, but there was a groan there.
Yes, it is.
It was better. But later, so I live in Kent, and the advice was the first lot at 6,
Yes,
and the second lot at 8, be done by 1 a.m.
yes. The afternoon.
And then make sure you have a good sleep. Towels on bed. But then she said no one needs to be having a drive feeling that something might happen. So that's really interesting that we're similar the same time of day, but the advice is completely different.
I moved from Hereford to St. Mark's, completely different experience. Fantastic cinema film.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have another question?
Yeah. Another question from Glasgow?
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, I've got a question about diet. Whilst I have Lynch syndrome, I've also been treated for prostate cancer and pancreatic cancer. And as a result of the pancreatic cancer, I had a Whipple's operation and I've been replumbed inside, and I take pancreatic enzymes. So to get to the question, should I keep taking my pancreatic enzymes with Novigrip?
Well, that's a very specific question. Gastroenterologist.
Yes, we need your help again.
Full disclaimer, giving advice, not having met the patient. Generally speaking, if you are dieting and you are not eating, I would refrain of taking your pancreatic enzymes when you are starting your fasting.
Okay, did you hear that okay? So don't take the
Yes.
enzymes when you're fasting for the colonoscopy. It's okay to stop them temporarily.
Thank you.
We've got a couple more, we generate a lot of questions. Oh, go for it.
I told you that's a favorite subject.
So I know I've only had one colonoscopy so far because I got diagnosed sort of last year, like 2 years ago.
Okay.
The advice seems to be different about the flat Coke, whether you can take it or not. My partner, who's not lived, he had a colonoscopy recently. He was told Coke was no. We've got a soda stream machine, so he made up like unfizzed Sprite and had it with that. But yeah, the advice is really different. So is the Coke okay? And
I
when I
spoke.
have mine in September, can I use the Coke Zero? Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
Coke
I
Zero.
do what he did and have the unfizzed soda stream stuff?
With Coke Zero, from patient's point of view, I heard it works, but we don't stop patient from having Coke at St. Mark's. Yes.
That's Coca-Cola, by the way.
Yes, Coca-Cola. David, it is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola.
There was a study done by Keith Shue. I can't remember his name now. Which used Coke Zero as an extra.
To help, it's like a laxative in a way to help them go quicker. Yes.
It must be the saccharin in
Yeah.
that helps you go faster.
There's a
Yes.
question at the back. Oh, actually, do the Yorkie first because you're right behind you.
Really quickly, my last scoping, I used Coke Zero and I mixed the prep in the Coke Zero, but I'd shook it for 2 days to get all the gas out, get it left over it off, and the consultant said that I had a very, very clean colon.
Well,
Yes, yeah, I've heard from patients.
Spread it around my clients.
Yes, I've heard.
Flat Coke and Bowel Prep. Who
Yes.
knew? Okay, one over there at the back. Hand up again.
Thank you. It was two things really. I was going to mention the Coke Zero because I've not heard anybody say it, but my other question is, I've had 7 colonoscopies, since having cancer years ago. But does anybody work on this prep to improve it? Because it's so
They have
and
been.
people that produce it actually taste it. And Plainview is sweetened with melon, and it makes it even more disgusting than honey. I think without any flavouring. I mean, this is just personally. I know from all on the group reports and everything, everybody discusses it, but can they not improve the bread so
They have
edible?
been.
Amen.
Yeah, I know. I think that's. I think that's
Glasgow.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear?
Yeah, go ahead, Glasgow.
Yes, the research is ongoing, and the research has gone on for years. I mean, it's 10 years since I left Norgine, but it's constantly being worked on to get both the volume down and the flavour better. Unfortunately, it is a difficult thing to do, partly to do with solubility. You know how difficult it is to dissolve movie prep. Anything you add to it can change that solubility, so even a flavour can make it even more difficult to dissolve. So yes, we feel your pain, but it's not an exact science and it's not an easy thing to solve.
Sorry, can I just defend it? I've had about 13, 14 colonoscopies, and I can just say the quantity is a lot less than it used to be.
Yes.
And the flavour is a lot better than it
Used to be.
And break it
Absolutely.
down, drink small bits really fast and chase it.
I think the Facebook page features Movie Prep Appreciation.
Movie
Society.
prep, yes.